Hello boaters. Well, it's the 11th of January today and it's been very cold, below freezing now for quite a few days. The days themselves have actually been quite nice and sunny for the most part, but night times we've been down to -3, -4, and last night was -5. What tends to happen after a few cold nights, then you'll get a really sharp frost and the canal will freeze over very thinly, up to about 1/4 of an inch on the first night. If it doesn't melt, the second night, when we get a nice hard frost, you'll get to about maybe a centimetre or 1/2 an inch. And then every cold night that it continues on after that, the ice will get thicker and thicker. So I did a rough check this morning and it's about 1.5 inches thick. And usually if the canal has frozen, you get out of bed in the morning after having been still all night and you start walking around in the boat, and the boat will rock a bit and there'll be a really loud cracking noise as the boat cracks against the ice. But this morning when I woke up, there was no sound at all. The boat is held firm by the ice, so it's thick enough now. I wouldn't try and boat through it. I have done so in the past. It's not a good idea. I would say that if the ice is, say, up to about 1/4 of an inch thick, you can go through it. It's not really a problem. It will take the blacking off your boat though, and it does so right at the waterline, is where you don't want to lose it. So it's never a good idea to move in the ice unless it's really, really thin. If it gets any thicker than that, so say 1/2 an inch thick, you can break through it fairly easily, but your steering will go off. You'll find it quite hard to go in a straight line, and you'll just be cutting a channel, breaking a channel through the ice, and you'll find that at some point the steering will start going and you'll start heading towards the bank. And because you've got ice either side of you, you can't turn the boat to correct that. The tiller doesn't really work because you're just in a narrow ice channel. So all you can do is walk down the gunnel, which is quite risky in itself when it's icy, and take a boat pole with you and smash the ice on one side where you want to turn. If you can clear a certain amount of ice out of the way, you should be able to correct your steering a bit. But it's not good to move in the ice. And also if you're passing say old wooden working boats, pushing thick ice around can damage them. Same goes for fiberglass cruisers and things like that. So it's not a good idea. I mean, in my early days of boating, yeah, it was great fun to move in the ice, and I think the thickest ice I've ever moved in was about 2 inches thick, which is a bit stupid really, and I don't do that anymore. And also, I mean, I won't move even if it's very thin if I can help it, because of the cats, because they don't like the noise of the ice breaking. It really frightens them. There have been a couple of trips I've done in the past where it's been clear, where I've set off. So you go 20 minutes along the cruise and then suddenly you hit a patch of ice which you weren't expecting. And so we've encountered that a few times, but sometimes you can't foresee all these things. Bushka and Midge, they're staying in most of the time. They do go out occasionally, if they need a pee or something like that, they will go out, but they don't stay out very long. I do worry about them at the initial stages of freezing, when the ice is still very thin. So even if a cat fell into the canal or onto thin ice, it would go through and it might not be able to get out again. I do worry about them when it's like that, so I keep an eye on them. When the ice builds up to a certain thickness though, I mean, it's almost to the point where I could drop onto the ice and not go through. I've had that before. I have been able to stand on ice before, but you have to be very careful about that sort of thing. But yeah, once the ice thickens up, it's not such a worry, until of course it starts to melt again, and then it's getting thinner and a bit scary sometimes. But yeah, they're sensible cats. They don't really, especially Bushka. Midge has got quite a thick coat, and he doesn't feel the cold as much. But Bushka, he's got quite a thin coat, so he's even less likely to go out when it's like this. So yeah, I'm stuck here now. Typically, well, what's it? It's a Saturday today. Tonight is supposed to be another really cold one, so the ice is going to get thicker again. I've not had a boat go past me for like 2 or 3 days now. And also, yes, when boats do break through the ice, they're breaking up the ice into chunks, and those chunks of ice, some will go over the top of the ice and some will go underneath the ice as it barges its way through. Those chunks of ice will stick to the original ice, and then you'll end up getting irregular thicknesses in the ice. You know, it can be, you know, if the typical layer of ice is an inch thick, in places it may be sort of 2, 3 or 4 inches thick because of multiple pieces of ice stacked up against each other, and it all freezes all together into big blocks. So yeah, so it's going to be a real cold one tonight. Tomorrow though, it's supposed to be gradually warming up, and next week should be up to about sort of 8, 9, 10 degrees in the day. So I'm confident I'll be able to move the boat next week sometime, but it's a bit hard to say when this ice will be out of the way, because if the cold spell ends with some really heavy rain, it'll melt pretty quickly. But if it just warms up a bit, I mean, sometimes it can take a week to go away, so we'll have to see about that. Anyway, I've just been around with my camera a bit just to take a few little shots. We had freezing fog this morning, very cold, and it's about lunchtime now, and the sun still hasn't managed to break through. I was hoping we was going to get a bit of sunshine, maybe this afternoon. I've been getting some quite good charging here though, up until now, so all looking quite good. Anyway, I just thought I'd give you an update as to where we're going. I'll be heading on down the canal a bit further, because I've got to do work for my boat's safety. There's a couple of important jobs which I've got to do on the boat before I can even apply for that test. The difficulty is getting hold of the parts that I need. You know, I'm going to probably have to travel 20 miles just to buy a piece of wood. It's really annoying. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.